Hello, everybody at home, and thank you so much for joining us on season 2, episode 8 of My Southern Exposure. And it's not the dirty Southern exposure like some of you all think about. First of all, it just means that we live in the South and not that far south. It's just my Southern exposure. But I do get a kick out of some people who think about the dirty stuff first. We are well over 73,000 views for the show. And I want to start off the show with something good. There's a lot of interesting topics for us to discuss, and I want to get some feedback from my co-host, the beautiful Raji Narayan Singh, about a lot of different things. So this morning, my little recap, we did the food drive delivery, started it today. So I got up early, started taking food to people's houses, and feel very happy and thankful to the donors, thankful that we were able to coordinate this again. This is our 6th year of doing it. Myself and my partner had done it by ourselves for several years, and over the last 2 years or so, we started to get donors jumping on board with us to help with it. So what we do is we take the food directly to the people's homes, as opposed to them having to leave, and it gives them a sense of privacy. It really does, because we just show up, drop it off, leave. That's it. It's not about taking photos. It's not about getting their names or publicizing them. But I do publicize that we've helped however many people be able to eat. So 4 families of 4 to 6 people per family got the 4 to 6 packs this morning, from 10 a.m. till about 2 o'clock or 1:30, I think, is when I stopped taking them over. So we focused mostly right in the local area where I live, Raji, and then I made a little trip out west, which turned into an extremely interesting car trip, that's for sure. But every single family was so thankful, and we were blessed by being able to help them, and then we were also blessed by them one of the families giving us a thank you card, which we've never had that happen before. And I want to say thank you to those people, that family, for doing that. It's very appreciated, unnecessary, but I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for being able to be blessed to help families, and I'm thankful for the donors. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do every year. We do it for Christmas also as well with the Toy Drive. So, Raji, how was your week since last week, personally?
Oh, well, personally, I'm hanging in there. Overall, I'm doing well. I did have a little bit of a cyst under the left boob that I had to take care of. It was so painful. Oh my God. And I tell you, I was like hot compresses and trying to squeeze it, and it wouldn't burst and or bust. And so, anyway, I finally went to the doctor last Friday. So, he was able to lance it and get that stuff out. And I'm on antibiotics, and hopefully all is well. He sent a sample of it to the lab to make sure that there's no cancer. And so, yeah, as soon as he lanced it, it was like instant relief because, the stuff wanted to come out and it just was like throbbing, So, okay, I know that's gross, maybe a little TMI, but you asked how I'm doing personally. So I just thought I would share. But other than that, just keeping busy being my, Raji-licious self, doing my activism and everything else that I do. And we have some juicy topics this week, so I'm excited to get started. Woo. And I just want to say,
Well,
I just want to say, I think it's fabulous about you doing what you do for Thanksgiving. I mean, that is just awesome, awesome, and I'm just so happy that you know we're able to impact the community that way because this is the time of year that, all times of year people are in need, but around holiday time, I think it seems to impact people on a greater level. And so it's nice to be able to help some people out. So great, great. Yay.
All right. So, goodness gracious, you said a couple of things, and just to touch on that for just one moment, and I have to beg for a little bit of patience for our audience members at home. If you see me tip to the side, it's because I'm sitting on a bag of ice. And if you see me twinge, it's because I have a pain shoot up from my derriere, the area down south. And if my words kind of get stuck, it's my little concussion that I'm working through. So I'm hoping that it will start to improve moving forward. But my partner is outside on the ladder starting to hang the Christmas display that we do every year. But if people at home are interested in participating as a donor, or if they're in need, please visit www.wegollc.com. That's www.wegollc.com, and click on the little tab at the top that says WeGo Cares. Now that we're having more and more people each year, and it continues to double year after year since we started it, I believe that what I'm going to probably do is create a not-for-profit organization officially, so that we can start to get people be able to donate and be able to get tax credits and all that kind of stuff, so we can hopefully start to help more people than what we do. So, but at least 16 people so far already got their food today, which was a lot of fun to do. And then we still have 3 packs of 2 to 3 family size portions. So, but it's all the exact same stuff that we're eating. It's turkey, stuffing, canned vegetables, everything that we are going to eat is the exact same stuff that we were fortunate enough to put together in the packets from the donors that helped us. So it's all part of the same thing. But you mentioned something, and I hadn't thought about this topic, but it popped up yesterday evening, I think, or this morning early. I can't remember which day it was, but according to some health insurance providers, some of the mammograms that are done, or the pre-screening of mammograms, are covered and some are not covered. So it's, one's called like a diagnostic, one's called an actual official therapy, one's called pre-screening, one's called all these different classifications for things. So what's been happening since the pandemic, or I should say since all the crap hit the fan, it's been more and more prevalent that people are not doing their preventative maintenance because they don't want to. That's a really good thing, because 2 different senators pushed forward, and that's a Republican and a Democrat. That's the way it's supposed to work. If people are going through something, both people should work together on the same common goal. So 2 different senators or congressmen, I can't remember which it is. One's a man, one's a woman, and one's Democrat and one's Republican. Not that that matters, but they started to push together and make the insurance companies be able to have the allocation of funds so that all preventative mammograms can be done. Because there's a lot of women out there who get a false negative, and there's a lot of women who get a false positive. And then it sometimes turns into, obviously, a life-threatening situation, which that was on a major television station that they talked about. And I mean, first of all, like putting it on that cold plate system, you gotta shove it into, that's ice cold from what I understand. That's humbling. And then you do it and then you come home, and then 2 months later you get $1,000 or $1,200 bill, and then you have to fight to get the bill paid for. What do you think about all of that, Raji, with the mammograms and the pre-screening? Because that's what they're saying, that prevention is what can save lives. But now some of the insurance companies, I don't know if it's because they're going under pressure because of everything that's been happening, but it seems like a lot of the insurance companies are denying claims. What do you think about, first of all, mammograms? They should be covered from my perspective.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
What do you,
I mean, I think they should definitely be covered. That's an important part of women's health, all types of women, also trans women too. So I think that, yeah, they should be covered. I mean, that's like basic when it comes to a woman, breast health. And so just, that's something that I definitely agree with you on. And me personally, I my whole situation is totally different. So the mammogram thing, I don't know how effective that would be because of there. It's gonna see nodules, but they're not gonna be. They're gonna be the black market substance that was injected in me. Not So anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I do agree. I think it's important, and you question like why something so to me it's just so elementary. You would think like when you're thinking about women's health, that would be one of the things. Just like with men, it's prostrate. Prostrate. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
prostate,
Prostate.
I think.
Yeah, you can tell.
Prostate.
You can
Prostate.
tell. You can tell I'm a trans woman. I don't even know how to say the damn word, but they have to check mine too. Although my doctor said she couldn't find it, it was so tiny, and I said, "Oh, that explains all of this." I have a tiny, 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 eensy weensy one.
An itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot prostate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Other things are big, but that's small. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I do want to talk about President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. I believe personally that they are doing an absolutely wonderful job with creating their own transition team because of the spoiled little silver spoon, orange faced monsters lifestyle, thinking that everything revolves around him. So at least the adults are starting to do things properly. So Joe and Kamala created they already selected several of their members of the White House, which is good, and they're waiting for the background checks and everything to come back. There are a lot of people that are actually good for us, people of color, multiracial, male and female, which that's never happened before, unless you're, had that silver spoon that was passed down to you from your silver spoon dad, and then they just gave it to you just because, whatever. So I think it's great that Joe and Kamala are working in a positive direction and have since the election. And not to rub it in, but I'm going to. You got your ass handed to you on a platter, boy. So get over it. Get over yourself, and stop talking. We don't want to hear you. We don't want to listen to you. We don't want to see you. We don't want to have nothing to do with you. Go to Uranus, like I said last episode. And I think at some point it's going to probably be necessary to make it so that it's okay to block this individual and people, the sycophants that are connected to it, because it's false information. It's dividing the nation that started 4 years ago, and it has to stop. And there has to be legal recourse. I mean, whenever there's any amount of massive death, and also coupled with potential death that is yet to be understood, in conjunction with dividing a nation, in conjunction with economy collapse, I think it's necessary for there to be an actual people of the United States versus douchebag, and hold them and everybody connected responsible, because we're all, I believe, they're all responsible for the deaths. Just like, I think was it Nuremberg, for war trials or war crimes. This is a war. This is definitely a war, and it's purposefully targeting people of color, people who are LGBTQ, people that are less educated, people that live in communities where there's not as much money, that are impoverished. And it's a very systematic thing to see. And if you can't see it, you got to be dumber than a box of fucking rocks, from my perspective. So in reference to that, what do you got to say about Kamala handing the orange monster his ass on a platter?
Well, I mean, okay, so this is the thing. This is a man that, if he could, would make America a dictatorship. He would do it. And you can see it because of the fact of him not wanting to accept the reality of him losing the election. And I think his administration has already, well, him and his legal team, I'll put it that way. I think they've already attempted 30 court cases against this election, and all of them have been, turned down. If, for lack of a better phrase, I mean, the judges are like practically laughing, and it's just obvious that he doesn't want to leave. And I mean, I think any president that ran for a second term and lost, they didn't want to leave. But there's a certain point where you accept it, you accept the reality, and you basically concede in a graceful manner. Like, in other words, you move on gracefully, but I don't think that's possible for him to do. And it's all about ego, his ego. He can't stand the fact that he lost. So I say all of that to say that I think it's wonderful that Kamala Harris won. I do think it's a step, a stride, or a step towards more equality for women and also people of color. I don't know how much of a step, because hell, Obama was president and it seems like the country went backwards because people got so freaking like wanting to have tantrums over the fact that we had a president of color. It's like, hello, like, what was that the fuck about? All the other presidents have been white. One president of color, and people want to have a hissy fit. I mean, come on, a tizzy fit, or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, I'm happy that she won. I think she's going to do a good job. And, we'll see. The court is out. I mean, the jury is out. We'll see how this all plays out. But they certainly, her and Joe Biden certainly seem like they're taking the responsible path and, trying to be responsible by, forming a team already and trying to work into the transition of when they take over. So, yeah.
Well, there definitely is a new big man and woman on campus, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. My other thing is that, on a side note, in Georgia, apparently there are 2 seats in Congress that are coming up for grabs. And in addition to that, there are several other things that have happened within the last week and a half or so that maybe a lot of people don't know about. One person was put into a position of power, who is a known white nationalist, which we all know what that means, by the evil forces of nature. The other two people that might very well likely lose are Republicans. Not that that matters, but the way that they act and don't act, I should say, the way that they do not take actions against things that are criminal or suspect or not in the best interest of the general population of the United States. It'll be great to see them get kicked to the curb. The other two things, one thing good and one thing bad. Miss Pelosi, she's still in charge, baby.
She's
Got to give her a big old kiss.
She's
still in charge. But unfortunately, the turtle is still for the minority. They talked about it on the show the other day, and this was, I can't remember his name. I love to watch him because he's so good, and I feel so bad for George Stephanopoulos the other day. He didn't even get 2 words in edgewise, because there was an altercation live on the air. To be honest with you, it was very entertaining, but it was very frustrating because George is like even keel. And then the other guy that's my favorite, I think it's Meet the Press on Sundays that I watch. I can't remember his name right now, but sometimes when he talks, his lip kind of goes down to the side a little bit. I know you'll know who I'm talking about. But okay, so first of all, they talked about it on the show with Meet the Press on Sunday, about how there is no change, actually, with Congress and the Senate.
Okay.
It'll flip from Republican to Democrat, then it flips from Democrat to Republican, then it flips from Republican to Democrat, and then both end up flipping for the House and the Senate, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And to add insult to injury, the people who are in those houses, so to speak, either one, the House or the Senate, or Congress, they're comfortable with not stepping out of the box. Like, they're okay. They don't want to make any waves.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, how long do you think it's going to take before this new batch of people actually, I mean, seriously, within the very first minute, Alexandra, what's her name? Cortez. Yeah. I mean, she's like, I don't care if you like what I have to say. I'm going to say what I'm going to say and get over it. And then the other one, the first Indian lady, I can't remember her name, or the one Hindu girl, I can't remember her name either, but it was a big deal that she got in and they were picking on her. So how long do you think it's going to take before these baby boomers that have been in control this entire time just exit stage left? And then we can actually start to think like adults, not being controlled by ill-gotten money, and actually care about humans more than money. How long do you think that's going to take? Because there's a lot of brand new faces on the map. I'm actually even contemplating running for local office myself, to be honest with you.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, think about it. That's the $1 million question. I mean, how long is it going to take? You would think by now, after all these years and us being through all the different phases or periods, that we would be a lot more evolved as a government. But again, it comes down to mentality. And a lot of the, you have the, I would say, far right that has a voice, and they're here, and they're adamant about what they believe in, and them not wanting the country to go to liberal. And so we have that population of people, and I think that dynamic is going to always be there. My hope is that there'll be some give. Like, even if that dynamic is there, there's people that run and are Republicans and they may be far right or whatever, that there'll be a little give. They'll be at least more willing to cross the aisle, like kind of meet each other. And also on the Democratic side, because that's what it really boils down to. We have to be able to put our differences aside and really go into Congress and the Senate and try and work shit out for the American country, for the country of America, the American people. And I think what happens is a lot of people get hung up on party and party line. And it's so much red tape and bureaucracy that goes into all of that. So I don't know if it'll ever go away, but hopefully little by little it won't. People will be more willing to work together.
Well, I definitely think that we're on the right track with what's happening and what is going on. You mentioned something that's really interesting about politics and what goes on and red tape and everything else like that. And I do want to bring up a topic that you and I discussed earlier. Well, first of all, there's really no nice way to talk about this topic with COVID. But it's something that we do every episode. The numbers are spiraling. I should say not spiraling. They're just basically going straight up because of people's selfishness and stupidity and non-acknowledgement of how serious it is. But now there's more and more people getting sick and more people dying and more people having complications. So now it's getting more attention. I know we have this vaccine that's right around the corner. It's going to take a while before it actually gets to everybody. But we're talking about like 1 million people, 1 million brand new people in a week getting it. And thousands a day dying from it. There's no way to sidestep that issue. It's real. It's not fake. And a lot of it comes down to money and who is controlling things. There are two interesting, I should say, ads in a publication that's really well known in our community. And I don't need to say the name of it. You can go out and find it yourself. I'm not giving any free advertising, that's for sure, to any of these things. But in the publication, they are looking to do medical research here in Southern Florida, Miami, Boca Raton. And for people that had, technically still have COVID-19, because they say it can come back once you have it in you. You already have it. They're doing an antibody study. Now, you're going to have to give me a little bit of patience here because this is kind of a long story. And if you pay attention to what I'm saying, you can pull it up yourself. Just takes about 4 hours to do it, like it did for me. And I was distracted with a lot of things while I was doing it. But they're focusing on the LGBTQ community locally, and there are negative ramifications to everybody involved with this ad. And I personally take offense with that. So I'm not going to say the name of the company. I'm not going to say the name of the ad. You can pull it up yourself and look at it. But, no, actually I should say it, right?
HIV.
I understand that, but I'm saying, should I say that?
Nobody's even saying it.
That's my partner in the background because he's just as pissed as me. So they're paying
They won't
people.
say HIV. They just
Right.
say, you know what to say.
Yes, they're paying people in our community, offering for them to enter into a antibody study. $3,250 per person. Okay, now the name of the study is Regeneron. That's the first thing. And I know, Raji, because you're so well connected with people, you don't have to respond to this because I don't want to put you in a pickle. if you piss somebody off, and then there's negative ramifications. So you don't have to, but I got to at least get it out.
Yeah.
And then the part that I have a problem with is that when you pull up that company, actually track it down, you can see that it goes to, I can't remember the name of the town. I think I told you earlier, Tallytown, Tarrytown, New York. Okay, so that's the first red flag for anybody that remembers all of the horrible things that happened in that general region with research for the atom bomb, the Manhattan Project, all the medical research that's been going on there. And then if you back it up a little bit more, then you can see like the name of the research company. It just so happens that the person who's the president of that research company used to be a driver for a sports car company. I'm not going to say the name of it, and I'm not going to say his name. And then it just so happens that he's a brother with someone who's the first quote unquote gay major TV station anchor or participator. Then if you back it up even a little bit more and do some research, you can see it for yourself, that the company is the same company that they gave, I should say, that the current criminal thug with the orange face owns stock in. That when he, quote unquote, got sick, they gave him this medication to fix him. And the people who sit on the board of that company just happen to sell that stock and then make up more than $1 million each when it jumped back up after the announcement came out. Isn't that a miracle? That's just a miracle. It makes you all warm and fuzzy inside, doesn't it? So they're going to have an actual study knowing and predicating on our community. They know that people are strapped for money. They know that they want to quote unquote help. But what if their intentions are not to help our community? What if their intentions are to control our community with this antibody study? Who's to say what's going to happen? Because when you sign that document for $3,250, guess what's going to happen? You release them from harm. So I'm unhappy about it. I had to say something about it. And whoever doesn't like it can fucking suck it. Raji, what do you got to say?
Can fucking suck it. Okay, so let me ask you, what is this antibody study for? Is it antibodies for the COVID? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Well, the interworkings and the shit.
This Regeneron's been around since 1988, and they're worth $78.6 billion or $7.86 billion.
And what have they made most of their money off of?
Biotechnology.
In regards to HIV/AIDS.
Manipulating viruses.
Okay.
It's called Regeneron.
Regeneron. Okay, I have to look that up and do.
So I mean, it's on the stock market. You can pull it up, and you can see that the whole thing smells like shit because he's connected to it. He quote unquote got sick, then quote unquote got there really quickly. Probably never had it. It was just a bullshit story trying to get the sympathy vote from people that are just his pathetic loser base of people. And if you believe in his kind of stuff, I'm sorry, you're a pathetic loser base. But the thing is that if those connections hadn't gone back to that, I would have been like, oh, maybe this is it then. And I would have been fine with it. But then to track it back to stuff that happened with the atom bomb, because as soon as I saw that Tarrytown, that name popped in my head because I've heard of it before. We've all heard of it before. I think also in that same area was where Lyme disease came from some medical experiment that they did. Wow. And then the limes, the little ticks got it, and then passed Lyme disease on to people and also to pets. But I mean, it's just one of those things where I told you about it briefly. I am very passionate about it because this is specifically targeting us, and people in our community trust that if it's in these books or in these publications, that it has their best interest in mind. And I want to at least caution people to do some research on their own. I really do. And when you actually start to look into the research, you can see and verify everything that I just said. So it's just very horrifying to me to see something like that, because it seems like to me that that is a direct attack upon controlling us, our community.
Yeah.
There hasn't been nothing about us all this time, and then poof, now there is.
Well, you wonder.
What's your gut feel?
Well, I mean, you wonder what is really behind all of this. I mean, it could be legit, and that, you know, of course, it's about making money. I mean, it's obvious that they're making that kind of money, but it's just with all the shit going on, you just question everything nowadays. And you know, when you, I wonder what really happens, like behind the face of the government. Like like we are the people, and we're here, and we're living in society here in America, but like we have our government representatives and all of that. But you wonder, like, the bullshit that is going on in the White House, like, and behind the scenes, and all the the whole thing about espionage and the stuff that goes on. I mean, this stuff, you see it in movies, but obviously if it's in movies, they're telling us, they're simulating stories of real life situations. So yeah, it does smell a little fishy to me based on what you said. It really does. But who knows? Who knows? It's just something how it's all intertwined, because Trump ends up having a piece of this. He's like in it. But can you imagine? I wonder how many companies he actually is involved in. Like, he does have a piece of. You wonder.
I mean, you bring up a really good point, and actually, that's part of the whole reason why I'm so grateful with what's happening now, that we're snapping back to reality. But it makes me want to acknowledge and focus on what we haven't known this far, because we need to weed out like the evil in one time. I'm not saying kill, I'm not saying maim, I'm not saying hurt, but people need to be held responsible for their actions and their inactions.
Yeah.
From when this whole thing started, it was, oh, it'll be gone, and we only have one case. Okay, so now we're at 12 million. So, but you're not responsible. Like Governor Ron Dick Satan, same thing with him. He's not responsible. Like, he could have said, okay, people, I don't want ads running to come down to Florida on vacation until we get a better handle on this stuff. We've been bombarded with ads. Come to Florida. Come here. Go there. Take a vacation here. Let's do this. Air travel. Blah, blah, blah. No one knows what the fuck is going on. Just say you don't. Say no one knows. And then, okay, so then we all know that no one freaking knows. Don't, well, the economy. Well, the economy. I hate when I hear anybody say that. Well, the economy. Like, the people got so pissed off because I can't remember, it was on the news the other day that they came in to do an inspection, and the people who owned the place told them that they had to leave. And then everyone jumped on the bandwagon. Well, the government doesn't have a right to go into a business and tell them what to do, blah, 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 blah. But the government has the right to tell a woman that she is forced to have a child even though she's raped.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't we just make the government? Why don't we just make the government make all men get a vasectomy? It's reversible. It's much easier. That'll take care of the problem. Because just like men don't want to wear a condom, most of those men don't want to wear a mask. But they want to control a woman and tell her that she has to.
Well, that's,
You bring up a good thing about yeah.
it's always been a double standard.
Go ahead.
No, I just said it's always been a double standard. I mean, you know, that whole thing, what's good for the geese is good for the gander, that saying. You know, people, they're quick to like set up rules and regulations, but then don't want to follow them. You know, and so and put expectations on people that they're not putting on themselves. You know, but a lot of that is rooted in misogyny. A lot of that is rooted in misogyny. So, did he didn't fall out the tree yet? Please, I hope not.
No, he didn't. But you can see the concern in my eyes.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to put the ladder that I almost lost my life falling off of up against her palm tree to start to prepare for the lights, like I said. And he's right up against like a 7-foot tall agave. Because we have 2 of them, you know. You've been to the house. You know how big they are.
Yeah.
So it's got all these spikes on it.
Oh my God.
Like these giant spikes on it. And he's pushed up all the way against it. And he's got to go up about 15 feet up in the air to wrap the top. Each year, you know, we buy a little bit of stuff at a time. Like we'll if we see Christmas lights somewhere on sale for $1, we're like, okay, let's get them. And then by the end of the year, I mean, it takes us like each year we start to have a bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. But I don't know if you've ever gotten hit by one of those agave thingies, but this is like my letter opener, and it's kind of big. You can see, like, I'll put it here so you can see how big it is. Yeah. But the agave spikes are like, they're like a needle. Like, and you don't even know if you get cut by it. Like, I can tell because I'm allergic to them. So I swell up like I got stung by a wasp or a bee. But it's just, yeah, I'm going to probably keep looking until he's off the ladder. But you bring up a really good, interesting thing, actually. And I've been talking with you about a handful of shows, like I did last week as well. There's another really, really good one that I saw. There's actually 2 that are really good shows. The new one that I binge watched while I've been laying in bed to try to make my swelling go down in my head and my tuchus. The new one is The Watchmen, Watchmen.
Okay.
Girl, honey child.
It's really good.
You're going to love it. It's really good. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, I already told you about Westworld, which is amazing. I told you about Watchmen Now. That's the new one. There was another one before that I watched. I can't remember the name of it, but I talked about it on the show. But this Watchmen one is so good. It's people of multicolor all across. And we're talking about famous people in this show. Like the other one had Anthony Hopkins with Westworld, I told you about, and a couple of other people that are really good. This one's got that girl, I can't remember her name. She used to be a child actress, and now she's turned into a big deal. She's in the commercials for Cadillac.
Not true.
She's the pretty dark. No, African-American girl. She's a director of movies and stuff now.
Oh, Regina King?
She's I think her name was maybe Tootie. Yes, maybe that's it. I don't know. She's beautiful, and she's. Is that
Regina?
Is that her?
She was in 227.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, that's it. Yeah. So she's in this movie, and she is a main character, and it touches on all of the stuff that's happening right now, Raji. And this started back in 2004. This series, or 2005, or 2009. So like. They're talking about stuff and they're using terms back in 2005 or 2009 that we're using now, 10 years later.
Wow, that's something.
Part of the thing is police officers wearing masks up to here.
Oh my.
So you can't see who they are, so you can't target them. This is this is more than 10 years ago
Wow.
that they came up with this storyline. And it's white supremacy and people fighting on the street and good and evil and science and technology. It's such a good show. I want to tell everybody at home, please watch The Watchmen. I wish it was just The Watch People, because there's watchmen and women. But it is a really strong and powerful thing to watch. It's good. If you watch The Watchmen, I would suggest that you set aside at least 14 hours, because it's an hour per episode.
Oh, okay.
So you can watch it from the beginning and go all the way through to catch up. But then now we got to wait a week for the new episode. I'm like, can I get it now? They haven't released it yet. It's so good. It's like diving into a chocolate pie or something. But you brought that up about the movies telling us about stuff ahead of time to warn us and kind of prepare for us. And part of it makes me wonder, maybe that's the reason why some people, and I just remembered something else. Ricky Schroeder. Do you remember him?
Yeah. Silver Spoon.
He paid $150,000 bond for that boy to get bonded out who gunned down the jogger.
He did?
Yep. You don't know about that?
I didn't know. No. I heard he got out, but I didn't know that he was the one that paid for it. Okay. Wow.
What do you think about that? Like, seriously.
I mean, I would love to hear his reasons.
His side. Yeah.
I would love to hear why he did it. Like, what his reasons were behind paying bail for this young man.
For a murderer. I mean, I don't really care to know the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a flying fuck whatever reason he came up with.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
I'm just curious.
But it's one of those things where you have to acknowledge your curiosity. You know what they say about that? Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, but satisfaction brought him back.
I was waiting for that. I was putting out that bait to see say that. Oh, I got to tell people about our network, and I say our network lovingly because you are part of it.
Thank you.
My Southern Exposure Media Group LLC. C.com is a brand new network starting from the ground up, and we are looking for talent all across the world. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be rich. You can be just like me. Or if you are famous, then you can be like Raji to be part of it. So, but the idea is not just the rich and famous people can be able to make some money from home. People can make their own videos about whatever topic that they want to share. My focus predominantly is LGBTQ entertainment, because I feel like it's been underrepresented for ever since the beginning, just like I've referred to it in the past with Logo Network, that I feel like they took some missteps back in the day. But now, apparently, in that same publication that I will not speak its name, directly across from the other ad that I was discussing, we have a LGBTQ movie and TV app. Someone does. I'm not going to say what it is. And it's a website serving the LGBTQ community. So,
Make me got to put more
I think, oh, I know you got to, because you're going to be lip smacking. I think what we're doing is definitely catching some attention.
Yeah, possibly.
And content is very important. But it doesn't mean you have to be on RuPaul's Drag Race to get your own little show. I mean, I met this beautiful trans girl the other day while shopping at Bravo for groceries, and she was an absolutely beautiful little girl. And, you know, we have a family member in our community who is going to be having her own little show as well. And I won't discuss it yet because I want to build up some anticipation for it. So, but the idea with our network is for people to be able to make money safely from home and also be entertaining, but also that the content is very important. What do you think about this new network popping up out of nowhere?
Well, I'll tell you, I always remember something that Michael Jackson said. I think it was Michael Jackson, yeah. I'm almost 90% sure. He said when he got an idea for something, like even if it was like at 3 in the morning, he would jump up and start putting it into action because he knew that that same idea would be in someone else's mind, like probably right around that same time. So he would be like, but he used Prince. He says, if I thought of an idea, I would get up at 3 in the morning and start working on it before Prince got that idea and beat me to the punch. What it is, I see this all the time where like I thought about different innovative things, and then damn it, a month or a few months down the line, it's someone's coming out with the idea. And you know what the difference is? You can have brilliant ideas, but if you don't have the resources to manifest them, like, the money, a lot of times to make things happen, then you can't act on your idea. So, if you have the idea and you can do it, then why not? So I just think maybe they saw and we inspired, maybe they didn't, but the energy is out there because this is what we're doing. And so these people obviously are running with it. But hey, that's why you have ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. I mean, there's room for everyone. So we can have our network too, in other words, our LGBTQ network.
Well, yes, that's definitely on the docket in the works already. So, but I mean, you bring up another really interesting thing too, also as well. I mean, we don't really talk about it that often, but you work with Trans Gurus and a couple of other different shows that are really important because it's a different way to look at things in a positive way about our lifestyle. Would you like to talk about those things that you're involved with for a moment so that people at home, because you've never done it before on the show, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've done a number. I have a lot of, I call it pots on the stove, but Trans Gurus is another online show like what we do here at Southern Exposure. But the difference is Trans Gurus, the platform is about like uplifting, motivational, inspirational, thought-provoking topics, right? We don't get down and dirty like we do here on, like you and I do here on Southern Exposure. So it kind of gives me another outlet because I am very spiritual and I do believe in, positive thinking and, being able to use the universal laws to create the things that you want. And so the Trans Gurus gives me an opportunity to be a part of something, a platform that's spiritual driven and is about like, uplifting people's spirits. But Southern Exposure gives me an opportunity to like just keep it real in the sense of like talk about current events and the shit that's going on, and really get into the nitty gritty with the current events. So it's a nice, for me. It kind of serves both purposes. Me being a part of both shows, it's fulfilling in different ways. Yeah.
You mentioned about spiritualness because actually I was going to say that, and I'm happy that you said it. I heard from a little bird that you recently were in a little flick, a little movie role
Flick.
that was of a very ethereal, venge-filled, entertaining person who was trans. Would you like to? Can you give it? Can you even talk about it? Because I know it's an ongoing project, but
Yeah.
it's very spiritual, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah. The movie isn't out yet. It's still, a progress and a work in progress, I should say. But I did play a role in the movie. It was about a transgender ghost, and I was haunting somebody that happened to be very homophobic and transphobic. So when I heard about the role, I was like, oh, I can have fun with this. So I filmed that last month, and then next month I'm supposed to be filming another movie, small role, but this role will be of a fortune teller. So yeah, I got a lot of pots on the stove. I mean, I am multifaceted, definitely, for sure. Yeah,
Well, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me because I keep trying to throw my hat in the ring along with you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
if you ever need a little fat Mexican looking guy, well, that sounds horrible. I'm so sorry for saying that to anyone who's Mexican descent that doesn't look like me, but I'm Puerto Rican. But if they're looking for a man of this skin tone, that's a little thicker down below, don't forget about me because it would be fun. It would be so much fun.
Definitely.
Oh my goodness! And then you brought up another topic that I wanted to bring up because it's obviously important and also something that's brand new. It's never been done before, coupling along with spirituality and religion. So I want to bring it up to people so that they know about it. Pope John Paul, the new one.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of backlash about his comments that he made being pro-gay, quote unquote, coming out and all these other different things, which I think that it's great that we've been acknowledged in a positive way from the very top of the food chain in that arena, the Roman Catholic Church, which I just happen to be, because it has always been my entire life that not a good thing if you're me. So, but on top of that, he actually appointed the very first African American cardinal in the United States.
I think that's
What do you think about both of those two things? Because those are two really big things that are spiritual and uplifting, Raji.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so in regards to the LGBT thing, when it first came out about that, he actually, the media ran with it and said that he was saying that it was okay, gay people or LGBTQ people should be accepted and should also, have families, like and partners and that sort of thing. But then I think he kind of retracted it. Um, oh Lord, did he fall? I think you need to be up on that.
No,
Oh, okay. Because yeah. Because I think you need to be up there.
I'm not falling twice. I'm definitely not falling
okay.
twice. That's for sure. Because I've already fallen this is my fourth time.
Okay.
If I fall a fourth time, I'm going to be like in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like in my life, I've fallen 4 times. I've got so much damage in this body right now. I don't even know how I'm able to even sit up.
Yeah, you need to be really careful.
But please continue.
So yes,
Yeah.
basically, I think he retracted and he says no, that he meant that LGBT people should have family and their family should embrace them, meaning like your parents and your siblings, not like he wasn't co-signing to like our love relationships. But anyway, whether it was that or not, the fact is he did speak up and say that we deserve to be loved too. So I think that's a good thing. And then as far as appointing the first African American, Yeah, I think that that's, that's wonderful. It's definitely a progression because you don't have very many black higher ups in the Catholic Church. So I think that's definitely a wonderful thing. Yeah, step in equality, step in equality.
It definitely is a step in equality, that's for sure. And then in addition to that, a lot of LGBTQ people were voted in to positions of power. I don't know if I'm repeating what I already said on the show or if I'm telling you what we talked about. So if my mind just went backwards a little, Raji, please tell me.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up that topic about how important it was that a lot of LGBTQ people were just voted into positions of power. I know we talked about a lot of people that are new, but we didn't actually isolate the importance of it for our community.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah, definitely. We talked about it before the show started. And listen, this is what I say. The government and our government officials on all the different levels of government needs, I believe, to be diverse. It needs to be like the way America really looks. America is not the America that was 50, 100 years ago. We are so much more diverse now and progressive, I think, to an extent. Still got a long way to go, but so we need to be represented. The people need to be represented. So that means black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, LGBTQ people, because it needs to reflect how our country looks. And, we're a country of basically everything. We're a melting pot. So I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Again, another step in equality. Little steps. This is the thing. Little by little. We're not going to see, I think, anything spectacular or any major leaps. But at least if we're moving forward in the direction of equality and equity for all people, then that's good. That's a good thing.
What do you think about where people sometimes say that, and I hate using labels, liberals want to give everything away for free, conservatives want to make people work for their money, yada yada, because there's this big divide that people are creating, and I'm an independent voter. Sometimes I vote Republican, sometimes I vote Democratic, but I consider myself to be a pretty conservative gay person, with like those kind of values that are built into me. But I don't think everything should be for free, but basic things should be for free so that people don't have to worry about those things and they can try to focus or think about what's really important to them.
Yeah.
And I know that they talked about it that, with so many people working from home right now, that a lot of females are no longer going to be returning to work, even though if a job was available, because they're back taking care of the house and the husbands are back out on the street putting themselves at jeopardy because that's their only job. And then the moms are at home taking care of the children. That's that misogyny part. So that's like actually a twofold question. I'm so sorry to do that to you. So I don't know which one you want to talk about first, but the idea that someone who cares about society is a socialist is offensive to me.
Yeah.
But now a conservative cares about the economy. That's offensive to me. I think that there's a way for both to be able to work together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely on
What do you think?
I'm on the same page. I think that, you cannot have a completely, I would say a completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, not socialist. What's the opposite of socialist? socialism. I can't think of the word.
I can't either. I'll think of
Yeah.
it later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm having a mental block. But what I'm trying to say is, this whole thing of get out there and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you got to work for what you want and all bull fucking shit. Because you know what? Not everyone is born on the same level of playing field for different reasons. And that's why there are people in society that need help. There are people in society that need help. And isn't it the moral thing to do to help people that need help? Okay?
Yeah.
So we can be a country that's a combination of both. We can be a capitalist, that's the word I was looking for, a capitalistic country, and also a little bit of socialism mixed in to have programs to help the people that need assistance. Okay, because not everyone can get out there and work their ass off for many different reasons. Now, I'm not saying for people to sit on their ass, but there's different things that go into play with that. And I'm going to tell you, I bet you none of those conservative far right Republicans that are pro-capitalist returned those stimulus checks. They kept them from the government, and that was a government run program that distributed the checks and everything. So I don't want to hear it. There can be a nice balance. And America has always kind of been that way. We've been a balance of both.
I mean, I think it's actually funny that you said it that way. It's funny that you said it that way because I'm sorry, it stopped me because I just had a thought and I got to let it out before I forget, because there's a lot of people who think that socialism is bad, that people shouldn't get stuff for free, but they definitely cash their Social Security check. They definitely are perfectly fine with getting whatever tax benefits technically that they can get and try to work around and move money from here and move money to there and have an offshore bank account and all this other kind of stuff, and then write off things, and then they get some free tax money because they donated. But I think it's interesting that you said it that way, because socialism is okay if it's my free health care that I need, or it's okay if I get a tax break, or it's okay if I cash my Social Security check, or it's okay if I get my disability, or it's okay if I get a rebate on my taxes for putting on a new roof. Those kind of things. Socialism is okay if it benefits them.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say it that way. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Please continue.
No. That's the whole point. Social Security is a socialist program. It's a program run by the government. We as American citizens pay into it. And the whole point is that when you retire, you expect this money to receive this money monthly from the government. That is a socialistic type of program in a way. It's because it's a government run program. So I think we have to be clear about when we talk about what exactly do we mean when we say socialism, because there is the aspect of socialism that doesn't work, like with Cuba and Venezuela and those. But again, America has kind of been a mixed bag, and I don't see why we can't continue to be. We're one of the most successful nations in the world. So this whole thing about they're using this fear tactic when it comes to Biden and Kamala Harris, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, saying, "Oh God, they're going to turn this country into a socialist country," and I'm like, "Oh, come on, fucking BS! That is not going to happen." I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The thing is, the reason why our socialist programs work, the ones that we do have, or socialist-like, I'll put that in there, socialist-like programs, is that we have a government that works and doesn't allow dictatorship. See, if you notice these socialist countries that are going down the toilet, they're dictatorships. That's where the corruption comes in. Cuba, the government was run by Fidel Castro for 50 something fucking years. That's a dictator. Maduro in Venezuela, that's a dictator. So you have to really break things down when you're talking.
China, isn't it China or South Korea or North Korea with dim sum uns?
North Korea.
Yeah, it's North Korea. I'm so sorry for talking about food. I said dim sum. I think that's food, isn't it? Ay, ay,
I'm
ay.
hungry anyway. It's time for me to go eat.
Oh my goodness gracious! I mean, and I don't want to keep you from eating. That's for sure. But you mentioned something that made me think even a little bit more about like the real what the problem is, and the part that's like frustrating is like we see these commercials all the time about the Wounded Warriors Network. We talked about commercials before. Okay, I'm going to shout out a couple of them. The Wounded Warriors Network, the ASPCA, another big one, the Covenant House. All of these different organizations that are out there that are basically, we are being bombarded on a daily basis. The average everyday person like me, you, the people that are watching from home, guilt. If you don't help this organization, then you should feel bad. But the photo of the dog hopping on one leg, the baby sitting at a bus stop that they put into a scene that's an adult and then they change it to a baby. When is the limit? How do we draw the line? What do we do? And the Covenant House doing their thing. All these different organizations, the Wounded Warriors, they work for the government. They have the VA. Mm-hmm. Seriously. They have the VA. Don't try to guilt me into helping them. How about you fucking fix the VA? They've already got a lot of money. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of veterans hospitals that are gigantic. They look like cities all across the United States. And it's not like the people who went to war thought that they would not get injured. I'm not saying that it's bad that they did, but it makes me wonder, like I've mentioned before, how many people did that person kill or injure before they got killed or injured? Okay, so that whole violence thing, you can't guilt me with violence. You can't guilt me because a dog that was found in a cage somewhere on someone's property, that should be something that your neighbor should get involved with before it even gets to that level. If you hear dogs barking all the time, you should be like, what's going on over there, neighbor? Get involved. Get other people in the community involved before it is a problem. Don't be making me feel guilty if I don't spend $9.99 a month and then I get a T-shirt that shows a koala on it. That's not my fault. That's not my problem. I didn't create that problem, and don't bombard me with it. And if they spent less money on all the ads to guilt the American public into spending $9.99, $10.99, $7.99, $12.99, $14.99, all the different organizations out there, and then when you actually look into the people who are in charge of the biggest organizations, the executives take so much right off the top.
Oh, yeah.
So when we do We Go Cares, because we're going to make We Go Cares an actual not-for-profit organization, not a nonprofit, because a nonprofit you can make money from. A not-for-profit, there's no profit. Whatever money comes in goes directly out. Not, 50 cents per dollar, like some. Or 20 cents per dollar. We know. But the part that I don't like is like that guilt that's getting pushed onto people. And it seems like it's even more super focused because it's the holiday season. So then whatever money people do have, they want them to spend it. So then they need more money from the government for them to get the money from the government so they can tell you how to spend it. That's how that feels to me. That's how that feels to me. That's my last topic of conversation, because I know you look a little famished. It looks like you're ready to eat.
Yeah, I'm a little. A big girl has to get her energy, honey, and her nourishment. So yeah, I'm a little famished, and you can go ahead and go outside and make sure everything's organized with your Christmas lights, so you can get in the spirit of the holiday season. Can you believe it's going to be Thanksgiving? Oh my God! I want to wish everyone out there a happy Thanksgiving. All of our American viewers, happy Thanksgiving. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Transgender Awareness Month this month to all my transgender sisters and brothers around the world. Happy Transgender Awareness Month. We have to just keep moving forward and keep the fight going towards equality and equity. So I guess I'll throw it over to you to close out, Joseph.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Yes, I guess I will head out there before it starts to get too dark, because the darker it gets, the more nervous I get that he might miss a step. So I'd rather him fall on my squishy body as opposed to the concrete. But Thanksgiving will definitely be a holiday this year, especially for many of us that probably are even more thankful for what we have. Even the good, the bad, the ugly don't make no difference. Broken butt, lump in the back of your head the size of a grapefruit, whatever it is, anything that's wrong, even though things don't go right all the time, at least when things do go right, then it's really important to be thankful and share as much as you can. So I don't know what we're doing.
And I just want to say, it doesn't take much to be grateful for things. You get up in the morning, if you can walk and have running water in your bathroom, that is a blessing, because there's a lot of people in the world that don't have running water. Simple things. There's so much to be thankful for. So yes, gratitude, honey, it's a powerful thing. And when you're able to be thankful, and this is universal law, in my studies of spirituality, I've learned this. When you're able to be grateful and thankful for the things that you have, you'll get more.
That is so true, and actually tying in, and then I'm going to stop talking because we could talk for hours, and I know you're hungry and I'm hungry. But it's ironic that we're talking about the military stuff and being thankful. There was a 111-year-old World War II veteran. I think it was down here in Florida, because it looked like a Florida kind of house, but someone had done his roof and it wasn't done very well and it was leaking. And the governor or the mayor reached out and said, "You fought for the country. You're the oldest person alive. That's the World War II veteran. Is there anything that I can do to help you?" And you got to give props to him, first of all, because like when most people are asked that question, they're like, "Oh, no, I don't need nothing." Yeah. This 111-year-old man said, "I need a new roof." And the whole community banded together, ripped off the old roof, put on a new roof. But the takeaway with it is what he said at the end, which is exactly what you just said. Every day I wake up, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for everything that I have and also for the things that I don't have. That's I think that is definitely the takeaway of the show, and also just a takeaway of the Thanksgiving season. So I can't wait to cook that bird. It's been in the fridge for like 3 days thawing. It's not a really big one, but it's like a 13-pound one, but there's only 3 of us, but we're planning, 4 of us. So I don't know how we're going to make it yet, but I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm hungry. I'm hungry and excited. So I want to say thank you to all of the viewers of the show. Don't forget to get a hold of Raji at mysouthernexposure.site. If you want to get a hold of this little face, Joseph at mysouthernexposure.site. Don't forget to check out a couple of websites. I do want to mention one of them. Actually, I'm going to mention a couple of extra ones that I hadn't actually planned on doing, but it seems necessarily appropriate. So please check out Blue Oceans Artifacts. That's plural, blueoceansartifacts.com. Great person who just happens to be handicapped and has a wonderful story. And I'm helping her with her website. And I would love for you to be able to follow her, like her, and hopefully buy some of the products that she has to offer, t-shirts and masks and books and so many other different things. I also want to tell you about WeGoLLC.com. That's the transportation service. Also got to tell you about Raji-Narayansing.com. That's our co-host, the beautiful Raven Vixen there with her red curly hair. Don't forget to check her out. And also My Southern Exposure Media Group, LLC.com. Please visit all of those websites. Try to support however you can, whenever you can. And thank you so much to all of you at home. Share, like, subscribe, forward, and make certain to come back here next week, which just happens to be a full moon. I just noticed on my calendar. You can't see this full moon because it's still under recuperation mode. Next week will be our 9th episode of season number 2. Holy crap. But it is a full moon. So I'm hoping and believing that it will be a very special day. Raji, do you want to say goodbye or what's up?
Yes, well, on that note, I want to wish everyone out there love, happiness, peace, good health, prosperity, and many wonderful blessings.
Bye, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. Bye. Bye, Raji.